Who's not coming down the track? Who's not coming down the track? It's a me that she is red light. Ain't nothing finer in the land. Ain't nothing finer in the land. When the drums are marching straight to bed. Come on, What's up, y'all? This is John and Caleb back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. Tonight we are getting into G-Day a little bit, and then we are getting into kind of a slightly late but still on time NFL draft breakdown. I say that because the Cowboys just traded into the 11th pick as we were starting this. So it's on time for us. You guys may hear some frigid,
reactions.
cold takes.
That too. Yeah.
Um,
I will say I will try not to react too much because it sounds, based on what you've just said, like you're a little behind on your stream compared to me. So I won't be saying things until you say them first.
according to me, according to YouTube TV, I am live.
Have you seen the Cowboys pick yet?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
we're
No, it's I will say information that I have in the outline about the draft is already wrong.
yeah.
It's funny, but it's still wrong.
Yeah.
So there's that. I will say, you know what? We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. But how have you been? What are you drinking?
I have been good. I have been busy. We're getting ready for a birthday party on Saturday, and all of our attention is focused on that. Um, yeah, you know how 5-year-olds and their
Oh,
stuff
what's
can
the
be.
theme?
So every year, we do a Barbie movie, a different Barbie movie, because my
Okay.
wife grew up loving the Barbie movies. And if you follow Dog Sports Memes for a while, you might remember when I did an April Fool's prank saying that I was gonna make it into a Barbie page and mapped out the whole Barbie cinematic universe timeline, which was one of the more fun things that I've done on that page. So this year there's a superhero movie called Barbie Princess Power, uh,
Oh, I'm in.
that we're doing the theme on. This is just the second year she's been able to kind of pick the theme herself,
Right.
which has been a lot of fun for my wife. Although last year she changed her mind at the very last minute, and we had to roll with it. So this year she's stuck with what she wanted, which is good.
Yeah, that would be tough. That would be real tough.
Yeah. But I am drinking. I always joke that my liver identifies as a woman because I love like fruity drinks and stuff. Um, and so I'm drinking a Mike's Hard Strawberry Lemonade that apparently comes in a can now.
Is
Didn't
it a
know that when
harder
I got
lemonade or a hard lemonade?
just hard. I didn't see any harder. But yeah, they've just got these in cans, no bottles in sight at the store. So that
That's
was
kind of wild.
interesting.
The Mike's Black Cherry is fire though.
That is true.
Like you're getting diabetes and drunk, but
You're not,
it tastes good.
yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, I've always Mike's Hard Lemonade was like the first drink when I turned 21 that I like attached to, and I've just stuck with it ever since.
That's fair. That's fair. I so little story history about me. I started drinking at a pretty young age. My stepbrother is 16 years older than me, and I lived with him for a little bit. Um, so like I don't know, freshman in high school, maybe a little earlier, I started with Bud Light, right?
Hmm.
And I drank so much Bud Light before I turned 21 that I can't drink it anymore. It just tastes like soap water.
Fair enough.
So I do have a Coors tonight, which if you hate light beer, you're gonna say it all tastes the same. I don't believe so, but I did have a few Tropicalias at dinner tonight, so whatever. Um, but let's get into G Day a little bit. And so the way we set this up is we typed out like as we were all watching this. We all watched it at separate times. I don't think any of us watched it live, but we typed out like stream of consciousness thoughts while we were watching the game, and then we came in and separated them into positive thoughts and then positive offense, positive defense, and the negative thoughts, negative offense, negative defense. Um,
I need to move this note to the defense section. I'm noticing now that you've said that.
yes. I did that this afternoon. I probably should have told you that before I did it. But and it's just going to be like I said, stream of consciousness from the beginning because there's a lot that can probably only take a little from, but it's our first and only taste of football until August, at least at the college level. So
Yeah. Which it got me very much in the mood for football season, which was cruel since I still have to wait 4 months.
absolutely, absolutely. And I will say, the guy that I am referencing for the first round mock draft later was correct. He was one pick off because Miami and Dallas traded a single
Hmm.
pick. So he's right, just
Yeah,
off on the number.
that's correct.
All right, so positive thoughts on the offense. We're just going to kind of bounce around between the two of us here. The first one I have is Peanut, who Dwight Phillips, if you don't know the team's nickname for him. Peanut gaining some weight to be a more every down type of back is important.
Yeah, he looked good. He still looked really fast out
Yeah,
there, but watching him put I don't know if I think it was Rayshawn Dinkins, but I'm not 100% sure. Right in the dirt was very satisfying.
yeah. I mean, this guy, they said he gained 20 pounds of muscle and didn't lose an ounce of speed.
Well, it's crazy,
Yeah.
absolutely crazy.
Um, Second thought, I think Gunner moved a lot better within the pocket in
Mm,
terms of moving to throw the football, which is something that I wanted to see because at times last year it looked like in it, it seemed like he almost panicked inside of the pocket a little bit and just
yeah.
immediately thought to run the ball. And then if he had to go out parallel to the line of scrimmage, if he had to go out to the side, then he would try to throw. But if he was inside the pocket, it was almost like as soon as he got pressure, he was trying to run. And then if the running didn't work, he would try to throw the football. This year, it looked like he was trying to
Mm.
move to throw. Um,
Yeah. Which he was in a press conference, he was asked like what's one area you've tried to improve in your game the most? And he said specifically that, better movement in the pocket, better awareness in the pocket. And it showed to me.
no, I agree 100%. My third note here, Chauncey Bowens is jacked.
Yes.
Like I don't if I'm sure most of y'all listening to the podcast remember back. But remember before Elijah Holyfield's last season, when people saw his arms,
Mm,
I feel like Chauncey Bowen should be getting the same treatment.
yeah. And a WWE contract down the line if he wants one.
Well, no, because after he's a Pro Football Hall of Famer, he's not
He'll
going to
be
care about
too
the
old.
WWE
That's
yet.
true.
Um, I will say I think the kickoff return team is more coordinated this year than they have been in the past. I think special teams is something that Kirby worked on a lot because late in the season, teams used that against Georgia.
Mhm.
And he's one of the best teams or best coaches in the country at if you use this to hurt me, I will
You
now
don't get
use it to
to hurt
hurt
me with it
everyone
anymore.
else.
Very true. Very true.
Um, Caden Prothrow is a problem.
I told y'all. I
You
came on
did.
here and told y'all.
You did say Portho, but
Oh, God. Did I really?
that's how you had it typed in the outline.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm pretty sure I said it correctly.
You did. I'm just Portho is such a funny typo.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, that dude's an absolute problem. I just and this is in here somewhere. Um, I think this is the deepest tight end room Kirby's ever had at Georgia. And I understand that at one point Georgia had Darnell Washington, Brock Bowers, and Oscar Dell
And John Fitzpatrick.
and John Fitzpatrick. But this tight end room No
I'm
other
I'm
team in the country is capable of building this tight end room.
that's true. And I think it's certainly the best since then, at least. And I understand what you mean by deepest because every one of these guys looks like they are at least Darnell Washington level.
And so, like, you have Lawson Lucky, who didn't really play. I don't think he played at all. Who is the incumbent tight end one?
Hmm.
And then you have Ethan Barber and Elias Williams, who played a lot last year, who both of them would be tight end one for any team in the country.
Yeah, we saw what they could do. They are wrecking balls of humans.
And then you have Jaden Riddell, who's technically tight end four somehow based on playing time from 2025.
Hmm.
Um, and then you have some guy who I don't even remember his name, but he made a number of plays on at G Day. I think he was a white dude wearing a funny looking number, just catching footballs out of nowhere. Um, and then you have Caden Prothro.
Yeah, insane.
Like we're talking six deep before you get to last year's number one tight end in the country, who Kirby has said, like, yeah, he's not that great of a blocker yet, so he's just going to be one of our slot receivers this year
Yeah,
at like
like what?
6'5" and 220 pounds.
Right, like what?
But next tight end note that I have, because I'm going to bounce around a little bit within bouncing around. Elias Williams is the largest man on the offense, and he's a tight end. And that if you're a fan of another team and not scared of that in the running game or play action pass game, you're stupid.
Yes. Give
And
Mike
then
Bobo a toss sweep and it's over.
yes, and then last one, and this obviously the first part of this is facetious. I do feel like I need to clarify that. But Georgia's winning a national championship this year just because they're back on the tight end jet sweep with Jaden Riddell and Caden Prothro. And
Yeah.
I don't. What more do you
Look,
want?
look, I'm not, I don't want to say it. I really don't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it. 10 blocking for 23 on that jet sweep. Just it reminded me a lot of 0 blocking for 19 back in
Mm-hmm.
the day.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some 75 yarders on that
Yep.
one, and I don't doubt this could be that as well. Just throwing it out there,
Yeah.
and that
No,
makes me very happy.
I agree. It seems this isn't even in the notes. This seems like the offense that is built the closest to how Todd Monken built his offenses.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that this is going to be a team where we score 40 to 50 points a game. I'm not going to say that this is like as explosive as an offense as 2022. Like because you can't guarantee that and I think it might be a lie. But this is how Todd Monken built offenses.
Hmm. Yeah, just matchup nightmares in as many places as you can have them.
Yes. Um so getting out of tight end because that was almost half of our positive offensive notes just because
They
uh
were so involved everywhere.
yes. Wow. Ty Simpson at 13 to the Rams.
Why would they do that? They already have the greatest quarterback you could ever ask for on their roster.
I'll be honest, man. Like, are we gonna have to get a Stetson versus Ty Simpson celebrity celebrity deathmatch fight to see who gets to be the Rams starter next year?
It might be. I was telling my wife before this started, the Raiders having Brock Bowers on the roster should have just traded the Rams their pick for Stetson Bennett and let the Rams have Fernando. But apparently they didn't see it that way.
Yeah, that is miss on their part.
Or you just
Um,
go out and sign Logan Gray out of free agency and you don't have to worry about it. But
that's fair. Um, I am absolutely sure that Matt Stafford will love Logan Gray back in the locker room.
of course, I'm sure his wife would as well.
All right, so getting back into our notes, huge fan of the toss sweeps coming back,
Hmm.
especially with the running back room that Georgia currently has. Um, I will say I think this is the fastest running back room in a few years.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. A lot of speed back there.
and a lot of I think, and this is something that I don't know. I didn't read it. I haven't heard it, but it seems like the running backs focus a lot on catching passes and running routes this year, and not catching screens and dump offs.
Hmm.
Which is something that I said I wanted to see. Um, but then next note about running backs, Dante Dowdle is much more than a power guy.
Yeah, Josh McCray, he is not. No offense to Josh McCray, but that Dante was making me feel some things, and he was somebody I eyed at when he was at Kentucky last year because I don't think a lot of people gave him the respect he deserved there. But this dude is coming for some jobs this year.
And the thing about, all right, so what was his path out of high school? I'm trying to pull it up because it was. I think a lot of times when somebody transfers as many times as he has, that people automatically lose a
Yeah,
little bit of
he
respect.
so yeah, he spent his freshman year at Oregon, his sophomore year at Kentucky, and his junior year, or sorry, his sophomore year at Nebraska, and his junior year at Kentucky.
Right. Okay. So there we go. 2023, like the 2023 season, you were not going to take the spot of the running backs that they had at Oregon. At
Hmm.
top five running back room in the country at that time. And I get it. But then he shot himself in the foot and transferred to Nebraska.
Yeah, which I mean, he played in every game at Nebraska. He had a decent season there, but
But you're running behind that offensive line.
yeah.
And then he made it worse by transferring to Kentucky, who had a worse offensive line.
Mm.
And now he's going to, like, I'm still very skeptical about Georgia's offensive line this year. Just being 100% honest with y'all, I still have
I'm
a
not,
lot of
but we'll talk
questions.
about it.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. But this is still going to be the best offensive line that he's run behind as a starter.
Yeah.
Like, I think pretty significant margin, even with the questions that we have. Um, so, like, I'm really excited about that because I think a lot of people, ourselves included, and a lot of people that wrote the articles and stuff that we've read about Dante Dowdle, all thought that he was going to be Josh McCray's replacement, and this guy comes in and busts off what, like a 50-yard run
Yeah.
against potentially the best defense that he's going to play against this season. It's like, all right, you just put everybody on notice
Yeah. That's it. This dude again, he is coming for jobs. He will bust off a long one during the regular season. I can guarantee it.
for sure. And even if he starts the season in a little bit of a cleanup duty, because who are you going to take playing time from? Are you going to take
Right.
it from Nate Frazier or Chauncey Bowens or potentially Dwight Phillips? Like, no, you're going to have to work your way in from these guys. Um, and even if it's like, let's say against Oklahoma late in the game, they put you in to rest somebody for a minute, and boom, 50-yard run. Like, I
Yeah.
don't question that at all. Um, Getting into the quarterbacks just a little bit, because we're still believers in Gunnar Stockton now more
Hmm.
now than ever. And there have been a lot of people that somehow, some way this season have just decided that, hey, I know he was seventh in Heisman voting last year, but like now I'm
Now he's just not
skeptical.
going to be good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't understand that. We are not in that camp.
By the
Um,
way, start Ryan Puglisi crowd. How y'all doing right now after that spring game? How y'all feel?
Facts. I would say of quarterbacks that played, he probably looked. This hurts to say.
The least prepared to step on the field. I'll say that to be
There you
kind.
go. That's a nice way to say it. But yeah, hey, and so
How do
the
you
way that
pronounce this
he,
guy's name? Sorry.
so the way that he played reminded me of a quarterback that spent so much time mentally preparing for how to do it that he didn't know what to do.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, that 100% checks out.
Like he might be the book smartest guy in the quarterback room, but when it comes to practical application, it seems like he is not necessarily prepared for that.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't seem to improvise well. He definitely seems like a pre-snap read and that's it kind of guy right now. Hopefully that changes.
True freshman Jake Fromm-esque.
Yeah, there
It's
we
not a
go.
negative thing,
Yeah,
but it's
true freshman Drake Fromm was very good, but
yeah.
he also had his moments.
Um, Next quarterback note: the Hezekiah Melinder and Bryson Beaver quarterback battle next season.
Mm,
I
give
like
it to me.
if the Glory subscription came with paid access to watch that quarterback battle,
Be all over it.
I'd be in. Like I 100% in.
I'm a big fan of Beaver.
I love some Beaver.
Yeah.
Love some Beaver, and
Yeah.
he was yanking it tight, you know.
Hmm. But
Uh,
but on Millender, Kirby in his press conference afterwards was asked quite a bit about him, and Kirby was talking about how much of a baller he has grown to be on the scout team, which reminds me of the way someone else has been talked about.
who would that be?
Might be a two-time national champion quarterback for the University of Georgia.
Oh, a four-time playoff MVP.
Yeah, yeah, you know
Oh, okay.
the best quarterback currently on the Los Angeles Rams roster, and I know who they just drafted.
Wait. Did he all was he also a Heisman finalist?
Yeah, you know, actually he was.
Oh, okay.
Funny enough.
I finally know who you're talking about now. And then my last note is Beaver can sling it,
Yeah.
and like I said, man, if we can somehow, some way talk slash pay both Hezekiah Melinder and Bryson Beaver into being on the team next year.
Yeah, please.
Like
Also,
hey,
also,
guys,
Beaver follows me on Instagram. Come on the podcast, man.
have you sent him a message?
I have not. I need to.
Yeah, let's do that. Um, just because I want to know his favorite Beaver joke that he's heard.
Yeah, you know he's heard them all. He got one on Instagram the other day and liked it from me. So,
Um,
I,
yeah, like I understand that a lot of Georgia fans, especially the old heads, are like, well, Ryan Puglisi and the Montgomery guy, they've sat and they've waited and did you watch the
yeah,
game? Because like that's fine if you guys, and this is not meant as a slight to anybody, but if y'all want another 4 years of guys that play football like Carson Beck or Aaron Murray, like that's fine. We can get the rib protector white guy whose feet
hmm
are in cement blocks, or we
we
can
can
get
get
one of these.
somebody who can win championships.
Right, we can get these two guys that are currently on the team who are the best athletes every time they step on the field,
Yeah,
and also happen to be quarterback and can toss accurate deep shots.
yeah.
I mean that's my
I
vote
I was very impressed with those guys.
for sure.
As I usually am with guys who are not super highly recruited coming out of high school, but just love what Georgia stands for and does it. I'm going to include Gunnar Stockton in that category. I understand he was a 4 or 5 star guy, but the way people talk about him, he might as well be one of those guys, and he would definitely take a bullet for this brand. So those are the kinds of guys I will look to each and every day of the week.
The way Gunnar Stockton is currently talked about by the national media, he was a lower recruit than Lad McConkey coming out of high school.
Right, which is insane because he had so many stars and broke so many records
Yeah,
that
like are you talking about? Wait, y'all are talking about the guy that broke Trevor Lawrence high school records as
right.
not
That,
good? All right, cool,
right.
that's fine.
Let's yeah, sure he's got the stuff pinned on his bulletin board. Let's talk about that defense though.
Yes. Quintavious Johnson will be a menace if they let him loose, and I say if, very importantly if,
Hmm.
because he's a great system inside linebacker or outside linebacker, I should say. But then when they're just like, "Hey kid, go be an athlete," he hurts people.
Hmm.
And that's what we want to see.
Yeah, let him do that.
Um, and also, I think, and this may be something behind the scenes that's already being done. I think they give number three to the best linebacker on the team every year now.
That wouldn't surprise me because we do keep seeing people, well, linebackers just get the number three when they've already been there, and you never see a freshman or some new kid don it.
Yeah. Um, and then next note here, Josh Horton is the most athletic defensive lineman Georgia's had since Jalen Carter.
No arguments from me. Dude was flying to the football, and I would like to see more of it, please.
And he transferred from Miami?
Yeah, he did. We got the better end of that trade with Miami.
Correct. Actually, multiple years in a row, the better end of the trade was Miami because Colby Young as well.
Yes, that's true. That is very true.
Um, Next, Braylon Conley. I need to offer you a sincere apology. I was not confident
Not
that you could play as well as you did. Um, I do not apologize to your coach. I have watched two of his secondaries. I will not apologize for that, but I do apologize to you because you were significantly better than I had hoped for.
hmm
And I think truly actually battling for a starting spot this year.
Yeah.
Next, Rayshawn Dinkins is the guy at star. Everyone else is fighting for a spot somewhere else.
hmm
Rayshawn Dinkins is, I don't know if I've said it in a couple of years, but this is something I used to say a lot, especially with like 22, 23 time frame secondary. Uh, he's a human eraser.
hmm
He erases space, he erases yards, he erases mistakes. You see a streak of red or white coming across the screen, and the guy with the ball is on the ground.
We haven't had that at Star in a minute, not
It,
since probably Tyke Smith. So this
oh,
will be a lot of fun.
yes, yes. Um, Linton. I cannot remember this guy's first name. Charles? Nope. Nope, that's wrong.
I will look it up.
Chase.
Chase
Chase.
Linton.
Chase Linton reminds me of a sophomore DeAndre Walker. And if you don't know, what is it? 20 is it 2017 DeAndre Walker was his sophomore year of where he was kind of behind Lorenzo Carter and Davin Bellamy, but almost every single time he saw the field, he was making significant plays happen.
hmm
And he's a little skinny, but he's strong and fast and very technically sound.
Yeah.
That's what I get a lot of out of Chase Linton, and I'm super excited to see what he can be, especially if maybe they can, I don't know, take him to Little Italy a few nights a week.
Yeah.
Um, Joseph, oh
Jonah Ajonye.
yes, okay. Um, Leaning out a little, losing a little bit of weight, but keeping his strength will make him an insanely good pass rusher.
Yeah.
One thing that I learned watching G Day is I am not concerned about the dudes at pass rusher. I am concerned about what they are allowed to do.
hmm
And obviously, for G Day, you're not going to say, hey, go hurt him.
But
Because
hopefully
that
that's what they
is
hear going into the season.
right, because that is their teammate.
Yeah.
Um, and if something terrible happens, that is their starting quarterback.
hmm
They're not going to hear go hurt him. But
Yeah.
as far as the dudes at pass rusher, this is the happiest I've been top to bottom in a room in a few years.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, Jalen Walker was insane. He was kind of alone.
Yeah.
Um, and that's my note. That's the end of my positive notes for the defense, but you've got something.
Yeah. I got one more. Ty Boogie makes me very, very excited. Watching him during this game. The man is listed as a safety. He was playing corner for a lot of this game. He could play star too. if he wants to. Kirby got on the mic and he basically said, "We're just going to let him play whatever position we're struggling in. We're going to figure out where we need him and put him there." He's a true freshman, and Kirby is saying that about this kid. And you could see every bit of why on Saturday. I mean, dude is fast, dude is tough, dude will get to the football no matter where it is. I mean, this guy is going to be unreal once he gets some reps in.
Yeah, and that's the kind of guy that I can see doing really well if given the opportunity on a punt or kickoff team.
Oh yeah, he's going to fly to the ball and hurt somebody on one of those, and I can't wait.
Yeah. All right. So now we do have to get into negatives, and we don't
This
want
is a
to.
much smaller set of notes, by the way, for anyone wondering.
It is. It is significantly smaller, but and this is kind of the big one that I think we're going to talk about. I'm still very concerned with the offensive line. Or I think the Georgia front seven, two deep, is the most talented in the country. And I'm not sure which one.
Yeah.
Watched G Day through twice, and I am still undecided on which one I believe.
Yeah. So I put a little note in here to maybe help you arrive at a more positive answer to this, and I intentionally didn't say this during the positive section so that I could bring it up here. Uh, and the full disclosure, I am getting this from watching Brooks Austin's breakdown of the film, and I don't want to steal anybody else's analysis on that, but just watching that, Elijah Griffin has transformed into an absolute freak. Like he was a lot of the reason why at times the offensive line looked silly just because he was taking double teams and eating them for breakfast. He is not the same player he was last season. He has morphed into something very, very dangerous. And while he wasn't in the backfield a whole lot, making things happen, one on one with a running back or a quarterback, he was opening up the lanes for everybody else the whole time.
And I will say, if he's significantly better than last year, he was a freshman All American last year.
Hmm.
So, like,
Watch out.
right. And so, I mean, I intentionally put this in here of, like, I'm not sure is the offensive line bad or is the front seven good? And if you're trying to convince me the front seven's good, I'm not gonna complain.
Right.
Um, I will say offensive schematics, I still hate how narrow all the offensive formations are. It doesn't matter what hash these guys are on. Almost every formation, every single player is within the numbers.
Right. Yeah. I
I
noticed that too. And there are some guys like Jaden Riddell that you could kick out wide and really do something with in space.
And so here's the issue that I have. Just like if somebody doesn't understand why I hate narrow formation so much, because no one has head and shoulders the best offensive line in the country anymore.
Hmm.
Like there are defensive lines that are gonna be like there's players on front sevens that are just as good as your offensive line each and every week, no matter what team you play. So why would you put yourself in a position to where all 11 defenders are within striking distance of your quarterback on every single play? Like why not push guys out wide and push your best guys out wide so that you have potentially four defenders that are not close enough to do anything to your quarterback. So then your quarterback has to deal with potentially seven rushers. In a crazy circumstance, 11 or seven instead of in a crazy circumstance, 11. I hate it. I don't understand the thought behind it because you're just putting yourself at a disadvantage. There's a reason Tennessee's offense works so well against everybody not named Georgia, and it's because they are sideline to sideline every single play.
Yeah.
Um, I wrote this and then immediately disagreed with it, but I still don't like how many running back passes are still almost entirely out of the screen game because there were a number of halfback angles or slants or wheel routes that they threw that were significantly more effective than the screen
Hmm.
passes. I know it's Mike Bobo. And
Yeah,
I
I was about to say
know,
complaining about Mike Bobo calling screens is like complaining about the sun for being hot. Like,
I understand. But even Mike Bobo can be like, hey man, that halfback pass went for 20 yards.
hmm.
And the last before that combined for -8. What's the
Uh,
difference?
yeah. Now I will say, and I said the same thing last year, and this never came to fruition, but I'm going to continue to have hope because I can't help myself. There were very many times where a screen was thrown, but there was another route further down the field that, had this not been G Day, might have been dialed up instead in that situation because people were running to the screen. And so, just something to keep an eye on. If the screens are setting up something else, I don't mind them happening as often as they do. Last season, they just didn't do that,
Yeah.
but
And
I still have hope.
this year they would be running, a very similar levels or circus concept as they did last year. But the running back would just be standing by himself in the flat, and it was actually hit on
Mhm.
Saturday. And then he got like 12 yards out of nowhere. And it's like, yeah, like I don't know if that's you didn't send the running back out last year because the offensive line needed help, or if Gunner didn't see the running back last year. But like, I'd rather take 12 free yards
Mhm.
than 15 maybe yards every down.
True. Very true.
And I just wish that it was intentionally worked into the offense more, is where I'm going with that. CJ Wiley made plays with good passes that were thrown his direction. And by that, I mean, like, there were two good passes thrown his direction.
Mhm.
There were a lot, like, there were a lot behind him or, at his knees or whatever it was. But I think he was a little bit hampered by the quarterbacks that were throwing to him,
Yeah.
meaning earlier in the game when it was not Gunner primarily.
Uh, the quote unquote 5 stars that are supposedly better than Gunner.
Correct. Um, Elias Williams need to use his size more use his size more outside of blocking. It seems like he tries to be a wide receiver or a tight end instead of like how Darnell used to just like box out dudes like he was Shaq and catch a football and then just step over him and say, sorry, little man. Like,
Yep.
Elias, you're capable of that. You don't have to run routes like Zachariah Branch when you're off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
You're still allowed to hurt people.
Yeah. Just be bigger.
Yeah. And I think that I will say part of that probably comes with comfortability. And when
Mhm.
you have a different quarterback on every drive and everything's different every drive, it probably is a little bit different. Because last year when he was asked to do it, he did it well. But on
Mhm.
Saturday, I did not see as much of it as I would have been happy with. The next, mainly a joke. Dwight Phillips scored a touchdown right before the first half ended, and then he and Chauncey acted like they were riding motorcycles. Please, God, no.
No. No.
Please, no.
No. No driving related celebrations from this team, please.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Like next thing you know, there's gonna be act like they open in a bottle and chug it and then get behind a wheel, and it's like, no, no.
No.
Do you not understand? Um,
Golly, imagine.
and then I had a positive note that I actually took out for this next one and then put this in. And it was originally that Gilbert, and I don't remember this guy's first name, and I apologize. Transfer portal and NIL made me completely lose track of recruiting. Um, but Gilbert in the secondary, he was more often in the right place at the right time than most of the other defensive backs fighting for a spot. The problem is he was in the right place at the right time doing the wrong thing, and every single quarterback picked on him because of it.
Yeah. Jonte Gilbert.
Jonte Gilbert. And I hope that he took Saturday as a learning experience
Hmm.
because I think it is more difficult to teach catching up to a receiver, running the route for them, and being in the right place at the right time than it is what to do with your hands while you're in the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Like we saw Keely Ringo get drafted being in the right place at the right time and not doing the right thing.
Yep.
So he is completely capable of being that guy, but he still needs a lot of coaching.
Yeah.
I guess that was actually technically a defensive instead of an offensive. But anyways, moving on to the defense. Um, Khalil Barnes cannot cover our tight ends.
On the flip side, who can?
That's yeah, that's kind of the second part of that is that there's not very many teams that will be able to.
Mm-hmm.
But my concern is that Georgia is also fairly small on the receiver side of things. And so if you go against a team that does have the big physical wide receivers and you can't cover Georgia's tight ends, how are you going to do against those big physical wide receivers?
Right.
That's the concern there. Um, the next, Gentry Williams is hit or miss in coverage, but he is in the right place.
Mm-hmm. And I think he's recovering from an injury still, so
Yes,
you never know how much of that was going to be factored in.
right. And he's the guy that um, was he the guy that was in a non-contact jersey on the defensive side?
Yes, I believe he was.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, that could entirely be that, but still, still something to keep an eye on considering how hard Georgia hit the defensive back transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
And then another note about Jonte Gilbert: hit or miss, but the quarterbacks have learned that they can pick on him, which kind of what I said above. But the concern is that if he gets significant playing time, if Georgia's quarterbacks are picking on him, every other quarterback in the country will learn to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, an emergency situation, we'll see someone like a Ty Boogie before him anyway, but something to keep an eye on. Or hopefully he'll just get better, which we've seen a lot of Georgia defensive backs
correct,
do.
correct. All right, so we're going to get into the draft a little bit. And we're going to move at a decent pace here, um, especially because as of this moment, the 19th pick is in and has not been announced yet. So
Yeah.
we are a little behind. But
Can't help but
the
notice Carson Beck wasn't a top 10 pick. Sorry. And he's not even
um,
projected to go first round at this point, I believe.
I think third or fourth is most projections.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
that's a D minus pick if I've ever seen it. Anyways, um, so the first round mock draft that we are referencing is from Jason Boris, who I want to say over the last like 10, 15 years is statistically the most accurate mock drafter. Um, so there's that. And the first note that I have, because he only did a first round, is the first SEC player he has going is Caden Proctor to the Dolphins at 11. They traded from
He
11 to 12.
Yeah. And that kid from LSU was picked before him. Who would have predicted that the Chiefs would trade up just to get that kid?
Yeah, that is surprising. Um, who would have thought that after the last 2 years of defense,
A
that
DB from
LSU,
LSU.
yeah, a defensive back from LSU would be taken.
Yeah.
Um, and so Jason Boris does also have Georgia player Monroe Freeling going at 23 to the Eagles.
Yeah.
Um,
Fly Eagles fly. Come on now. Let's just keep the meme going. Do it for the meme, if nothing else.
and so my note on this is simultaneously I love it and hate it. I love it because of him going to the Eagles and they're an offensive line power. I also hate it because of Philly fans and the fact that if he makes two mistakes in one game, he will be benched and never be allowed to walk down the street in Philadelphia without getting something thrown at him again.
Look, if Jalen Hurts is still starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, Monroe Freeling can make a mistake or two.
Okay, great point. Great counterpoint there. And then, according to Jason, the second Georgia player to go in the first round will be C.J. Allen to the Bills. I will say I once again love it and hate it. Love that he's going to support a fan base, but previously a lot of inside linebackers have struggled with their team. Um, like they drafted a first round guy out of Virginia Tech years ago who was very good, but still struggled in their system. And then Matt Milano also struggled in their system at times. I think they kind of put their inside linebackers on islands. Also, we were immediately cold taked as Monroe Freeland got picked at 19 to the Panthers.
Yeah. Also got cold taked because of the projected trade from Seattle to Arizona for the Cardinals to pick Ty Simpson. None of that happened, and Ty Simpson slid down for the Rams to grab at 13.
Well, no, the note is in there at 32 because it was supposed to happen at 32.
Oh, okay. I saw Seattle to Arizona. I read that the other way around.
Yeah, yeah,
Seattle
yeah,
getting the third pick and picking him. Okay, gotcha. So,
yeah. So Monroe Freeling was just picked to the Panthers, which I don't know if I love it or hate it because are the Panthers good? I don't know if the Panthers know if the Panthers are good. That's
that's a
the
correct
problem.
statement.
Um, yeah, who knows about the Panthers? But CJ Allen of the Bills, inside linebackers have struggled in their system at times. They did just do a complete overhaul of their coaching staff. So once again, who knows? But
Philadelphia just traded up. They're about to grab C.J. Allen.
that would be funny.
They don't need him,
Um,
but it would be funny.
but yeah, no, I will say as far as the Bills system that they've used previously, CJ Allen being slightly undersized is a concern considering that the old system for the Bills, they leave their inside linebackers on islands quite a bit. Um, but you know, we will see because we don't exactly know where he's
Mm.
going yet.
Yep.
And then yeah, the projected trade was Seattle trading number 32 to Arizona um, to pick Ty Simpson. It was cold take. The
Yeah.
Eagles picking Makai Lemon doesn't seem fair.
Yeah. No, I have to agree,
All right.
and I love it. All right.
So now we're going to quickly go through what Chad Reuters from NFL.com, because he's one of the few people that put out a full 7 rounder, um, thinks that the rest of the Georgia players are going to go. So he has Christian Miller at 37 to the Giants. Recent history for the Giants is absolutely disgusting. But as far as pure talent goes, they're currently very good. And if they
Yeah.
stay healthy, they're going to still be very good.
Hmm.
And after just trading Dexter Lawrence, potentially having multiple guys to fill up the interior of that defensive line and be faster would be very good for them. Who knows? But personally, I would much rather see Christian Miller go to the Raiders and pair up with Max Crosby as an interior pass rusher and hopefully not let Brock Bowers just go through a lot of sad times.
Yeah. I want Brock Bowers to win a Super Bowl so bad.
I want him to win 10 games in a season.
That'd be a good start. Yeah.
All right, so the
Man
next
only
guy
lost 2 games in college and then went to the Raiders.
and has won like 2 games since that he was
Yes.
healthy for. All right, so next, Zachariah Branch to the Steelers at 53. Um,
I want the Eagles to pick him so bad. Him and Lemon. Okay.
Zachariah Branch to the Steelers is concerning because they've had historically bad offenses recently. But Steelers is another team that just kind of completely renovated their coaching staff. And they do have the passing game coordinator that got Justin Jefferson to be the pro player that he currently is. So
Hmm.
there's that. But this is also the same passing game coordinator that had Minnesota's offense last year. We will blame that on 9.
Yep.
Or why is my mind blanking on his name? Michigan quarterback
JJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy. I wanted to say JJ McCartney so bad.
Jesse McCartney.
Yes, that's essentially where my brain went. Um, yeah.
Famous for playing Roxas in Kingdom Hearts and nothing else.
Next we've got Oscar Delp at 87 to the Dolphins.
Oh
Um,
no, no.
Yeah, rip to his career.
Rip.
It, that's the only note that I have. I
At
hope that's
first, I was
not
like, "Oh,
true.
Tua occasionally has a great game. Tua's not there anymore." So
I don't even know who their quarterback is right now,
I,
but it
I,
can't be
I don't
good.
either. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're in the process of a full rebuild, and we do not want to see Oscar go there.
As of March 2026, the Miami Dolphins' presumptive starting quarterback is Malik Willis.
Okay, I don't hate it anymore.
Yeah, yeah, that's not bad. All right.
Yeah, so maybe oh, I'm sorry about your quarterback. Kind of like when somebody's in the hospital and you don't know if they're gonna
Yeah.
make it or not. Like, I'm sorry you're in bad health, and they come out 3 days later. So like that's where we're at with him.
Jesus?
I don't think the tomb was a hospital, and I did not pick three for that reason. But yes. All right, and then
I
actually
swear this is
a
just a Mike's Hard Lemonade. All right. Anyway.
yeah, Mike's hard, and by hard they mean it's vodka. Next, which is an actual rip to his career, Dalen Everett's projected to go at 107 to the Browns,
Oh no. Nothing good ever happens in Cleveland.
and he's going to be wearing an orange helmet instead of playing a team wearing an orange helmet. I, I think he's going to sack his own quarterback at times.
That's very possible.
Like who knows?
Look, if they can somehow schedule the Bengals 17 times, they might have a chance.
Facts. Um, and then Chad Reuters really thinks that the Steelers are big Georgia fans
Georgia
because,
receiving core fans specifically.
well, not only because he's got Dylan Bell at 161 to the Steelers,
I didn't even see the rest of this, but wow.
and then Micah Morris at 216 to the Steelers, and then
But
Brett
wait, there's
Thorson
more.
at 261 to the Steelers. So like
Crazy.
are
They
they
yeah.
trying to be the new Eagles?
I
But
I I guess so. If
yeah,
that's what's going
confusing.
on.
Um, and that's three Georgia players drafted back to back to back to the Steelers.
Yeah.
And then last player that Chad has projected to get drafted from Georgia, Kobe Young to the Pats.
I feel like the Patriots would, knowing them, would be more likely to hold out a year and wait for London Humphreys.
That's true, but we do have Mike Vrabel,
That's
who
true.
I'm not going to make any of the jokes that
Yeah,
my
let's not.
brain made up. I'm not going to do
Patriots
it.
love them some cheating in any way. All right.
Yes. Now we're not saying that Colby cheats. We're not.
No, no.
Absolutely not. But this is the type of wide receiver that puts up like 950 yards every year at the Patriots for like 9 years, wins three Super Bowls, and then just retires a quiet life.
Yeah.
And like inevitably, because if he goes to the Pats, he'll have the longest career, multiple Super Bowl rings. He'll
Sounds like you're
be,
just describing Malcolm Mitchell, right?
except Malcolm Mitchell didn't play that long and still got two rings.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't. Colby Young is the exact type of wide receiver that goes to the Pats, has like not a loud career, not a quiet career, but like a regular conversation level career,
Yeah.
and retires having made a ton of money and won multiple rings.
Fair.
And then Chad does have Jordan Hall and Noah Thomas both going undrafted. I will say that I think it's extremely unlikely that both of those two guys specifically go undrafted because I
Yeah, I
think
don't
Noah
see it.
Thomas was very underutilized by Georgia last year. I think Georgia did him dirty coming over from Texas A&M. I think he could have been used significantly better. He's extremely talented. And then Jordan Hall, I think the only reason he's considered to be going this late is because of the injuries he faced in his college career.
Hmm.
Um, but somebody's going to get themselves a very good interior pass rusher from Jordan Hall as an undrafted. free agent if he goes undrafted, which I don't think he does. And this the draft with the most first round picks that I am never going to be able to pronounce their name.
It must be. My goodness.
Oh, and y'all know I pride myself on looking up names. I wouldn't try to look up his name. But that's way
Yeah.
too many vowels. That's just selfish. Like, bro, how
Just
rich were your
selfish.
parents to buy that many vowels? Like, couldn't be me.
Yeah. Golly. So I see here that Mr. Irrelevant is projected to be a Kenyan rugby player, which is a shame because perhaps the best candidate for a Mr. Irrelevant this season comes out of the University of Georgia this year. Do you know who I'm thinking of?
Who?
It's Cash Jones.
Who?
It's 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 the best onside kick catcher in Georgia history.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So Mr. Irrelevant is projected to be Joshua Weru, Weru, who is projected to play as an edge rusher. He's from Nairobi, Kenya. Did not go to college, but he is 6'4", 244.
Okay. Can do something with that.
Um, and basically he went from no one knew about him to he played some sort of pro day. Like I think there's a NFL Africa pro day that they've started doing, which is cool. And he in this breakdown was the most fluid athlete on the field with loose hips and quick feet.
Mm.
So, you know what? I hope you do get drafted. Like
Yeah,
that's a great story.
for sure.
Um, so we do have a couple more minutes to spare. Who from this Georgia draft class do you think will have the longest career given that they stay healthy and they all go to the teams that we just read off they're projected to?
Yeah, so this is just like that nobody's gonna have like an injury retirement. This is just based on how quickly do they get released.
Uh, well, for at least five of them, yes.
Yeah. So there's two names that I think of. I agree with you about Colby Young. You know what? Brett Thorson, I think, is gonna have the longest career out of these
I
guys.
love that.
Yeah. I think, he's just gonna be he's gonna be an NFL Hall of Fame punter and he'll be the equivalent of like a Jake Kamara where everybody just, nobody's really going to bring him up in a conversation, but he's just going to be there because he never stops making insane punts.
He, after a few years, goes to Indianapolis in a free agent deal
I
where
could see it.
they love and respect special teamers.
Mm,
And he is
I'll take that
the
in a
next
heartbeat.
Pat McAfee.
I was about to say, does he end up joining WWE on commentary and try to form an awkward team with Randy Orton?
No, but he will, once he gets to Indianapolis, have a weekly, like, 20-minute spot with Pat on his show.
Mhm. I also kind of want him to go to Detroit to bring back the Mullets on the Mic podcast, even though Tate doesn't have his mullet anymore.
I mean, that would be sad because I don't want anybody to have to be in Detroit,
That's fair. That's a good point.
but maybe. You know
Maybe
what?
maybe maybe we bring Tate over to Indianapolis too, and then just
It depends on who the quarterback is, you know,
yeah, fair.
because boy, do they need some help.
Shoot, get Stetson over there. Just-
Split Stetson in half like King Solomon and the baby and just send him
to
to
both the Raiders.
Vegas and Indianapolis, the
Yeah. What
two
can?
most similar cities in the country.
Oh, another name that's hard to pronounce. Wonderful.
Akeem Messidor?
Yeah. Okay, it's not that hard when you say it.
Yeah. Now, also bought a lot of vowels, but
Yeah, for sure.
easier. Um, and then Which of these potential landing spots do you think is the worst? And Jalen
I've
Everett to the Browns is not
this doesn't
available
count.
because, yeah, it's the
Yeah,
Browns.
yeah. I have got to say, I think the worst place. It's only the worst given that these two are going to the same spot at the same time. But Branch and Dylan Bill, both being rookie wide receivers on the same team in the same year, I think there's no way both of them, get to the level that we would like to see them at on an NFL team if
I
they
agree.
were. So I think just the fact that they'd both be there together makes that the worst.
I agree. I think take either of them off and send them to, like, send either of those teams to just a list of teams that I think could use their skill set. Buffalo, Indianapolis, or Houston.
Hmm.
Like I think either of those guys to either of those three teams would be great.
Yeah.
Um, and if that was the case, it would be Oscar Delp to the Dolphins
Yeah,
because
that was my second choice.
like he is exactly what the NFL wants tight ends to be.
Hmm.
And you're gonna send him to a place with a new coaching staff with like 5 fans that show up to games and say, "Hey kid, be great. We don't know what you're great at because we don't have anybody else on this team that's great, but like do something." So hopefully in 3 years we can trade you for draft picks when we're still one of the worst 5 teams in the league.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You are absolutely not wrong.
Um, but that's going to do it for this episode of the Nothing Finder podcast. Hopefully, we are going to be back next week. Record Monday, release Tuesday. It really just depends on our schedule. We were supposed to have 2 episodes this week, and the day we were supposed to record, I got home from work around 11 o'clock. We obviously did not record, but uh, we're trying to get some stuff out. We're going to be starting Puncher's Chance here soon, which is always one of the more fun series we do throughout the off season. But as always, remember, y'all, there's nothing finer in the land.
Than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan.